Hey everybody, welcome back to Hollywood Live. I'm your host, Jack Canfield. I have two wonderfully amazing guests, Dr. Drs Rosa and Dr. David Seaman. And there's so much here, I'm not going to try to read it to you all, but I want to give you a couple highlights. Dr. Rosa owns and supervises accessible Beltway clinics in Maryland and Virginia. He has 16 clinics that you're managing. It's really great. Focuses on combining medicine, chiropractic, physical therapy, acupuncture, and behavioral medicine to give a comprehensive interdisciplinary approach to pain, syndromes, and musculoskeletal disorders. It is. But you've worked with the NBA, the Major League Baseball, NHL, the USA Olympic Committee. You've come up with some amazing products. We'll talk about relief, and recovery for pain. Dr. Seaman is a person that's been researching inflammation and diet and how to reduce inflammation and pain through those things. He's written all kinds of things at the Harvard Medical Journal and the Center for Disease Control are promoting. He's written a couple of books. One's called Weight Loss Secrets You Need to Know, and another one called the Deflame Diet, the opposite of inflame, I guess. I love it. So we'll talk about all of that. And so let's jump into it. I really appreciate you guys joining me here. This is fabulous.
Thanks for having us.
I wish we had 2 hours.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of topics
to talk about. So just each of you tell me a little bit about what it is you do and what your professional focus is and who you are.
Go ahead.
Dave?
No, go ahead.
I practice, like you said, I have 16 integrative medicine clinics in the metropolitan DC area, mostly Virginia and Maryland. I've practiced in about 25 years, and I chose the profession for a reason because I got hurt when I was playing wrestling as a high school student, and I went to an orthopedic surgeon that told me I was done for the season, and wrestlers are a little crazy, so I kind of went and found another doctor to tell me that he can get me back, and a week later I was wrestling again. So I chose a little bit of an integrative path as opposed to a medical path. So I've been doing that for several years, and as the time went on, the last couple of years, this opioid crisis has kicked in, and I've been lecturing on it throughout the country, and I do some work with the White House as a surrogate, consulting for the Department of Justice, the DEA, anywhere that I need to tell that story about how pain has led into an overprescribing situation and what we could do to kind of have more awareness, prevention, and treatment in a different avenue. I also came up with my own topical analgesic cream, because in our system of integrative medicine, not only just saying you could do something else to treat besides a medication, there's nutrition, diet, and topical analgesics that you could give to some people who are used to taking something home. So I myself and my brother have been magic potioning this 24/7 R&R, which is relief and recovery. It's an analgesic cream that now is in the NBA and major teams and Olympic athletes that use it. So I think we hit a home run with that.
Very good. Very good. Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Well, about 30 years ago, when I was treating patients, the thing that struck me the most was not when they responded to a given treatment, whether it be manual care or medications or surgery. It was what was it about people who did not respond? What kept them in pain? So 30 years ago, I was lucky to sit in on a class taught by a British neurologist, and he listed all the various chemicals that irritate the pain system. And so I'm looking at this going, like 3 or 4 of those I know for a fact are related directly to diet. So I started going to the library and I collected thousands and thousands and thousands of scientific articles on the topic, and so I started to develop this concept of diet induction of pain. And so I wrote a textbook back in '98, and then I wrote my first scientific paper on it in 2002, and that was one of only 3 papers available at that time when actually researchers at Harvard were looking at how diet might influence inflammation. And they had to cite as many papers as they could, and there were only 3, and mine was one of them. And so that then led me to develop more scientific papers, and I decided just in the last 3 or 4 years to write these layman books.
How did you two come to work together? I'm curious.
Well, I was a student in one of his classes back in the day, even though we were similar in age, but then we got paired up in a golf tournament together, and it was right around Tiger Woods' time of taking flight. So because I was beating him up so bad, he nicknamed me Johnny Woods, because when your name's John, you could be anything, right?
Right.
It's not exactly true. Because the Woods had to do where he sent most of his drives. So he was kind of going right woods, left woods, right woods, left woods. So that's kind of how. And we had so much fun laughing. We laughed so hard that I couldn't hit a ball because of the laughter.
It's true, I got it.
And that was actually,
I have to admit it's true.
This is your secret weapon. Get him laughing so they can't
laughter. And laughter is very anti-inflammatory.
By the way,
brutally anti-inflammatory. So
this is good. This is good. You kind of mentioned how you got into this with your wrestling experience. What got you in? And you talked about why you got into pain management. But what got you into medicine? Where was that moment you said, I want to grow up and be a doctor?
Well, when I was in college, like most people in college, they don't know what they want to do. You're not really sure. So you get nudged in one way or the other. And I realized I wanted to be in healthcare. And I didn't know if I wanted to be a physical therapist. Medicine didn't intrigue me because I wasn't really into medications or surgery. And so that moved me into chiropractic. And as a consequence of that, as I mentioned earlier, when watching people respond to a given intervention, that's kind of the easy thing. And the difficult thing is when they don't respond. So literally my first probably trimester or two, that question popped into my head. Why do people stay in pain? And it turns out that pain chemistry is depression chemistry, is Alzheimer's chemistry, is anxiety chemistry, is heart disease chemistry, is diabetes chemistry. So all chemistry of these chronic diseases is this inflammatory topic, or inflammation, chronic inflammation. And so that veered me away from just being a traditional treater of pain with various procedures to get more into the underlying causes.
When you look at this area of pain treatment, and you look at the fact that you're doing integrative work rather than just traditional allopathic medicine alone, what is the state of your industry as a whole? What would you say?
Well, I'll let Dave speak to societal issues and pain in general, and I'll kind of piggyback off that because some of my work is based on that, on his.
Okay,
the state of the industry right now.
It's sort of a problem because the state of the industry, like if you're an opioid manufacturer, the business is good because pain is everywhere. And when you look at the adult population in America, about 70% or more are overweight. And the more your weight ticks up, the more your likelihood of experiencing pain ticks up because weight gain is an inflammatory process. So the average American is overweight or obese, which means they are pre-wired to experience pain. So it's a really booming industry in a negative way.
Yeah, I mean, let's break down the heart of the state of things now. And you're looking, if we're 5% of the world's population, a little bit less than 5% of the world's population, yet we consume over 90% of all the opioids prescriptions made.
Wow.
That is staggering, and that's not okay. It's really not okay. So you got to look deeper and say, what happened? Where's the breakdown? It was a little bit of government stuff, and then the fifth vital sign being tagged by the American Medical Association and the VA system. You got to look at pain. You got to get the smiley face. You can't have the face that's frowning. So there was a big push to have that put into the system. But 80% of heroin users tie back their use to a prescription opioid medication. That's another staggering number. The state of affairs is not very good. The writing's on the wall of where this thing cascaded to. And the concentration of efforts have really been in awareness. We don't need more awareness. You can't turn a page anywhere that doesn't talk about the crisis. We're aware of it, but are we aware of what we can do to prevent it? And treatment centers, it's not okay to say we need more money for more treatment centers, because we do. But you're telling me it's okay to become addicted first so long as we have a place to put them. So the state is very confused right now. The state of our situation is we're throwing money and time and effort into a place where we need to have a KISS method of getting this done. And I'm going to keep it simple, stupid, is let's go upstream and find out where this is happening.
Now, you guys have been more successful than most because of the way you're approaching this. What would you attribute that success to?
For me, it's just a consummate learner, and I don't give up. And when you're asked to go to the White House and you're asked to be in front of the Department of Justice and the DEA, we're in the front of this, you don't have a choice but to be an expert. So really my success has been that I just don't stop. I will not stop until I have an answer that makes sense. So really, success is just drive for me. I mean, right now, my success in practice is I get excited to do this type of business, and not because I look at ROI so much. My ROI comes from helping people, and then you get financially successful because you did the right thing. Mm-hmm. So the more I learn and the more I do and the more bodies I can touch and the more people I can save, that's a driving force. I think that's in any business, really. It doesn't have to be mine.
Right.
For me, it was the topic of chronic inflammation captured me. So I think anyone who wants to be successful, they got to be captured by something, and hopefully it's something good, so that you can do good for people as well as be essentially functionally obsessed with the topic. So I've been obsessed with this inflammation and nutrition and lifestyle for 30 years now. Mm. And even when 30 years ago, there were many naysayers who said it doesn't work like that, but I knew it did because I looked at the basic chemistry. So I had enough knowledge and information at that point, and enough stubbornness, being from the Northeast, that I just persevered.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, the way I look at it is our culture is primarily a symptom reduction culture, and what you guys are doing is looking at what's the root cause and treating the root cause. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, I tell a short story when I lecture about, I have two of my friends, an emergency room doctor, a primary care physician, and myself would go down to fish at the spot where the waterfall is, and we see bodies everywhere flailing going towards the waterfall, and the ER doc jumps in and goes right to the water's edge and grabs as many as he can, because that's what they do. And the primary care physician's building a raft to go out and put as many on the raft as they can, because that's what they do. And they're screaming for me, "Where are you going?" And I'm swimming all the heck way upstream, because I'm like, I got to find out why everybody's jumping in the water. Right? Isn't it really upstream where we need to look at stuff? And hence in everything, pain, diet, and what we're doing as a society. If you look at this room here as a $2 million line of a timetable of who we are in existence, there's not a pen, fine enough tip to put a dot over there that says how long we've been abusing ourselves with sugar, processed foods, and that's not genetically how we're built. And forget about taking prescription medications. What if the stat I gave earlier, 5% of the world's population were consuming all the opioids, two things that means. One, the rest of the world has no pain. Come on. Or we've been duped. What do? They have chiropractic, acupuncture, physical therapy, mindfulness. You know, a Buddhist can sit there and mind themselves right through pain. So thousands of years of operation, and now all of a sudden we change the game.
I get it. I totally agree with you. Fascinating. This is a message that America needs to really, really get and really hear. So, one of the things everyone wants to know who watches this show is they want tips on success. So, you're looking at your life, you're looking back at you guys when you started out, and your younger you. Knowing what you know now, what advice would each of you give to your younger you just starting out that would have made this journey a little bit more easy and perhaps quicker?
I could just say in like one word: work harder.
Work harder.
Yeah.
And you work hard.
I work hard, but work harder, because there's so many distractions, sensory input from everywhere. Now I don't have a television. I wouldn't have had one back then. So I keep all extraneous sensory input out and be singularly focused on the project and goal.
Good for you. Good for you.
I will oddly say that I wouldn't change anything, as I came from a family of Sicilian immigrants, and I was taught what it meant to have your tribe, right? What you have your group of people, and what you do for others, and I've constantly given back. I mean, from the day I got out, I made sure that I joined certain organizations. I donated my time, effort, and money. I did as much as I could to help support the people in my profession, and I guess I don't see much in the way of change, but more of a message of don't stop giving back. It's not just about you. And I think success comes from that. As a principle in itself is the more you give, the more you receive. So
beautiful. I've always believed that pain and suffering was optional. You guys are good examples of the fact that that's true. And so if people want to get in touch with either one of you or both of you, where do they go? How do they reach you?
For me, it's really simple. The name of the book is The Deflame Diet. So my website is deflame.com.
Deflame.com.
DEFLAME.com, the opposite of inflame.
Beautiful. And that has to be
And that would be the book right there.
Wonderful book that he's got here.
And I have my hands in so many things, between the clinics that I have, and then the topical analgesic cream 24/7 R&R that I made, and we have we're in combination, we're doing another book together. We also have a consulting company for like corporate consulting, health and wellness type of things, where this topic that we just had at a corporate level, I mean, there's always a percentage of the people in that audience that are suffering, or they just don't have the right direction.
Sure.
So, you know, I have a landing page and a website that's drjohnrosa.com, and essentially that could link to the facets of the things that I'm doing. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're both on the planet and you're working hard and you're learning constantly.
It's really a pleasure, man. It was really, really a pleasure to have a chance to talk with you.
This is important work. Well, you heard it here.
Yeah.
I'm so into this anti-inflammatory diet thing that we're all suffering from, and the opioid crisis is just a tragedy. So you know where some of the solutions lie. Check these guys out. Go to their websites. And please stick around. We got a couple messages and we'll be right back.